you went through something that is just it's almost hard to like put into words for me, because to see you so strong and see you the way you handled yourself, you are the epitome of grace, of strength, of everything that I think a woman is. And like to see you be diagnosed with breast cancer, and then to see you honestly step on that field 3 months later in our last game, honestly, it'll probably tear me up right now, but like I can't even, I know this isn't even a question, it's just a statement. I'm just letting you know how I feel about you, is unbelievable. Tone Dog, Toni Pressley, mother of 3 dogs, and just an amazing vegan cook, an FSU alum, a Gucci Mane loving human, and just overall one of the greatest people, and most importantly, a breast cancer survivor. Toni Pressley, welcome to 2 Wash Ups, 1 Pro. You are obviously the pro here.
Hi, ladies. How you doing?
Good, good. How are you in this whole COVID nonsense?
Oh, it's getting better. Definitely at the beginning of it, when everything was so new and fresh and kind of wild, I was going a little crazy. But I think I've kind of gotten into the swing of this new normalcy. Still don't really leave the house, only for training. But yeah, just trying to make do and make the best out of it. I suppose, as anyone would, really.
Yep, yep, that makes sense. Yeah, I had to so my Wi-Fi at my house, so I'm home in North Carolina, and like is just absolutely terrible. So I'm at my best friend's house in North Carolina, and I was like, I texted her, I was like, "Do you like want me to wear a mask?" And she was like, "Up to you." I was like, "Okay, I just like feel like that's just like a question you have to ask in 2020."
It's an
I know.
accessory. It's an accessory.
It is. We should get like sponsored. People should get sponsorships to put on the mask. I feel like people are gonna
That's
make
so
money off
smart.
that.
Yeah, that's
You
such
know,
a
like the
smart idea.
jerseys,
Not a
like
bad
jerseys.
idea.
I know. So, like, if you want to go into a business, just let me know.
Duncan.
We're trying to get a Dunkin' plug here. We're trying to get it.
I mean, if anyone can get the Dunkin' plug, it's you, Joe.
I was so close in Orlando, and then my whole body fell apart, and I had to retire. But that's a whole other story. Whole another story. Awesome. So I just kind of want you to walk us briefly through kind of the moment that you kind of fell in love with soccer, and kind of the beginnings of your love and passion of the game.
Gosh, so I started playing soccer when I was probably about 5 or 6 years old. Um, and I think just right away, like, I loved it. It was all I was doing, on the weekends, and having practices and trainings and going to tournaments. And um, I just, I guess I'm still pretty like naturally big, but even back then, like, I was so much bigger than everyone. So I was like, oh, like, this is great. Like, I can run around, and it caught up to me, in college. Everyone's, big and fast in college. So didn't really work out then. But yeah, I loved it ever since I was little. And, I'm grateful that my mom put me in it. And I was pretty good at it, and, got to go to college for it and see the world. And here I am, like, eighth year, I think, 8th or 9th year as a professional, and still chugging along.
Do you feel like because you were so tall at such a young age, did you feel like you were like, maybe I need to try basketball or volleyball, or did you ever like get pushed into that?
My
Was
mom actually did put me in. I remember I went to like a volleyball camp, and it was really fun. I still actually really love volleyball. Like, I think it's so much fun. And then she did put me in a basketball league at like the YMCA.
Mhm.
And I feel like by that time, like, all the kids I was playing with were already so good at basketball.
Mhm.
And I just, like, was, I don't know, behind a little bit. So I was like, maybe I'll just stick to soccer.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's really, really cool. Super
So,
cool.
so we know you're from Florida. Obviously had a great career at FSU, but looking back, can you kind of talk us through your, oh gosh, there goes Joanna with the Seminole sign. Um, can you talk us through your recruitment process in high school, and, talking about, you just said you were kind of a call it a bigger kid. I was the same. I'm pretty tall as well, so I know that experience. But what recruitment was like, kind of the sacrifices you made growing up to kind of get to FSU, what was the reasoning for why you went there, and talk us through a little bit of that process as a young girl.
Yeah, so I think the college recruitment process for me started probably when I was like in ninth grade. Um, I actually
National
committed
team
to
stud.
I actually committed to the University of Florida initially.
Ooh.
Um, yeah, and that was kind of a really awkward conversation to be like, "Hey, never mind. Um, I'm actually, gonna retract my, I don't even know, verbal commitment at that point." Um, I think just like a lot of my friends and I had been playing, youth club games at Florida State, and I was like, wow, like I really want to go here. Like I love the coaching staff. A lot of my friends who played soccer were going to go there. So I quickly um, switched over to the Knowles. Um, but yeah, I guess I don't know. In terms of sacrifices, I mean, growing up and playing in high school, I guess there were just a lot of, weekends. I didn't go to like high school parties or anything like that because obviously, like, we have tournaments, we have games, and the sole focus at that point was using soccer as a vehicle to get into college.
Do you
So
Go
sorry,
ahead.
Joe, but I have a follow up here. Do you um in high school, or considering where the league was when you were entering Florida State, did you was that a thought going into college? Was it really just a platform to get into college, or did you have some ultimate goal of like playing professionally, and was that part of your decision?
I think like in the very back of my mind, playing professionally was definitely I don't know, something I was aspiring towards, but I think in that moment, and in the forefront, it was definitely just, getting into college, getting a degree, using soccer to do that, and continuing to play soccer in college. I think it wasn't really until maybe my junior year that I was really thinking of professional soccer as a real option. Um, Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of weird too because I feel like I'm sure you guys know it's like when you're playing soccer like all your life, you don't really know anything besides the sport, and it just kind of like takes you where it takes you, and you just don't really.
It's
At
almost
least
like
for
a
me, I'm not
weird.
like it. Just like takes me. I don't know.
Yeah.
Sure.
I feel like it's like a body surfing wave. Like
Yeah,
like you just body surf and then it just takes
Underwater drowning.
and sometimes you're drowning and
yeah,
sometimes
that
the
moment.
wave keeps coming and coming and you can't get up, but you get up. You do get
Yeah.
up.
Wait, you make a couple waves for
You
sure.
make a couple waves. That's super interesting. I do have okay, so going back, I didn't realize that you undeverbally retracted commitment. Would that be so I'm a North Carolina kid, obviously. Would that be the same as like me saying I'm going to Duke and then going to UNC?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay.
Like, because I told the Florida coach like, hey, yes. She was like, this is the scholarship. I was like,
Yep.
okay, I'll do
Great.
that.
Yep.
And then, obviously, like I changed my mind. So I think I like sent a text message, which is obviously not the way to go, but I was young
Yeah.
and awkward, and I was
Yeah.
like, hey, like I don't think this is for me anymore. I'm sorry, and then I kind of gave my commitment to Florida State.
I love that is I love that. I had no idea that story. I
What's
love
even
that.
better is that those coaches are still in
So
place, like the
I
most
know.
tenured
There's
schools. So you're like, there's some beef there with like, I'm sure you're not the first and not the last that have fought in the state of Florida for kids. So
that's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, so kind of I know you've talked about like with conversations that we've had that becoming a vegan really helped transform your career. And I know you kind of said in college you weren't, eating the best and you felt like once you became a vegan, like your everything changed for you. Can you kind of walk through just that entire like how the hell did you do it?
yeah. So I mean, nutrition wasn't ever really something that I took seriously or used to enhance my performance. And I so wish that I was more educated about it, even in college.
Mhm.
But I suppose better late than never. Um, and I think it was our at the Orlando Pride, our 2016 season. Um, just like wasn't going well for me for many different reasons, but I think one of the ways and kind of how I took control back
Mhm.
was to really, I don't know, shift my diet. Um, and like I said, it's just something I could really take control of and manage and feel confident and secure in that. So I, at that time, was primarily cooking for myself, mostly vegetarian meals.
Mhm.
When I was eating out, I would have like meat here and there. So I was like, well, I'm not really cooking, that much meat anyway. Why don't I just go vegan? Like, it sounded like a challenge and it
Mhm.
was like something I had never really done before. And I was like, well, it's not really that much different than from being a vegetarian. Um, so I was like, yeah, I'm going to go for it. And I did that in the off season and I saw like huge changes, like just in my body composition
Mhm.
and my energy and the way I was sleeping and how I was feeling and how I was recovering. And I was like, wow, like this, like could really be something that like I do for like the rest of my life.
That's like I just like just to be like, you know what? It's vegan time. Like,
It is vegan time.
that's
Did you see
crazy.
changes in your like performance from like you talk about energy, but I feel
Mhm.
like there's always this like common, right? Every athlete always thinks at a young age, I need to have all this protein and protein and protein. And obviously in the vegan diet, that's a harder thing to achieve. Did you was it not was like were you seeing changes in your play at all based off your diet besides energy?
I think just initially, like I noticed that like I wasn't getting as tired um, as quickly, and I think just the diet allowing me to like get leaner and tone up and just allowing me to just to run for longer, like I said, without getting tired as quickly and then to recover better on top of that, like not feeling as sore. And I think all of that just like helped me on the field.
Did you feel sharper mentally? I know that's like a strange question, but like when fatigue would start to set in, would you feel as if like you were able to be sharper up in your brain?
I think so. And I think that kind of has to do with the fitness aspect as
Yeah.
well. Like just because I was
Yeah.
able to get myself to a fitter place. And we all know, like, if we're not fit, like the first thing is to go is really like your mental
Mhm.
capacity and the way like you process and make decisions. So yeah, I definitely think I was making better decisions, and I think just being fitter um, had something to do with that.
Just out of curiosity, like how is managing that? Obviously, when you're home in Orlando, I'm sure you have a lot of control as to how to prep food and get yourself situated there. But when you're in season, is that kind of a hard? I feel like we're getting there, like offering more options for people that eat vegan, but I feel like it's not like necessarily national. Is that hard to manage when you're on the road and um, playing it in all these different states and trying to kind of stick to your diet?
No, not at all. So wherever we go, our nutritionist here will always make sure we have vegan options. So the hotel we're staying at will always have, a vegan option at our meals, and if we're catering in, it's never been an issue. They'll always have like post training or game shakes for me. So yeah, I haven't found that it's been too difficult. And I think I've just have help with that from our nutritionist, and I think it just has come with time and learning and understanding of what things I can eat and can't eat. um, I think obviously like travel it can be tricky, especially when you're on flights for a long period of time. You're like, oh crap, like I don't want to eat this not so healthy airport food. So I sometimes I'll like bring things with me and just I think it's just being prepared really sometimes that really helps out.
Yeah. How the hell did you get the Brazilian loving, meat eating human being of Marta to transition to veganism?
Well, I kind of like tricked her.
Really?
I was like, "Hey, like let's watch this documentary." Like
Uh-huh.
Oh, I know what she's talking about.
Okay, okay.
it's really interesting. So
Uh-huh.
I we watched it was What the Health
Uh-huh.
we watched. And after that she was like, "Oh god." And I was like, "Yeah, maybe just like try it for like a week and
Mhm.
see if you can do it." Like it was kind of like a little challenge.
Uh-huh.
And then
Maybe
yeah, she's been doing it, I don't know, ever since for like almost maybe a year and a half
It's
now.
crazy because I remember people, like, being like, "You gotta have one of Marta's, like, barbecues,"
Yeah.
like yeah, and then I came and she became vegan, and I was like, "What the hell?" Like, didn't
You
get one
can
of the Brazilian meals, dishes, but
you can
that's
blame me.
that's maybe I should watch that. It's called what? What's it
What
called?
the Health?
What the Health? Is it on
It's for
Netflix?
you, Joanna.
It is, I think
It'll
so.
it'll
I'm a
test
steak
you.
eater.
It'll test you for
It'll
sure.
Yeah, it
what the
will.
hell? Okay, I'm gonna give that a watch. I'll let you know how
Well,
it
I
is.
don't eat red meat anymore. I haven't gotten to the vegan stage, but we'll see.
Interesting.
Every little bit counts.
I
I
know.
know I gotta try this vegan cake that Joanna raves about that you've made.
Oh,
Oh, the
I
funfetti?
need yes.
Mm.
You should see our notes. It's just like in caps, vegan cake. Like
I haven't gotten to make one in a while, but
I
yeah.
know. Have you thought of, like, legitly, like, making that, like, a thing? Like, Tony's vegan cake? Like, or something like I don't know, like, like, it's so good.
I know I should. Allie, Riley, and I, like, we really wanna make a cookbook, so maybe I'll throw it in there.
Dude,
do
seriously,
it. We should do more
seriously.
vegan options. Like I think that's why I don't do it. I don't know enough about
I'm
how.
like, I don't that's why I would just order Sanctum. I'd order Sanctum in Orlando.
Yeah.
I love that place, but I would look at my bank statement and be like, "I can't order Sanctum every day."
No,
You can't do that.
can't do that.
All right. Well, so when you were drafted out of college, the league folded,
Mhm.
unfortunately. Like, so I imagine that was an experience. But I think what's really unique about you is obviously you've been playing now, as you said, 8 years. You've kind of seen the ebbs and flows. You've even played abroad. Can you speak on one, the experience of like finally getting there, getting recognized, drafted, you're like ready to go. Then the league folds, you're kind of back at zero. And kind of the evolution, I guess, of the NWSL through your experience of like how far we've come, but also how your career professionally has progressed through all these hurdles that were not really in your control.
Mhm. Yeah, so end of senior year, got drafted to the Philadelphia Independents. So I would have played for Paul Riley. And then the league folded, and I was like, oh, well, crap, like, what am I going to do now? So that kind of landed me in Western New York for a little bit before I headed over to Russia to play for a year, which like I really, really loved and enjoyed and had like a great time and great experience. And I went with one of my college teammates who was Russian, she is Russian American. um, and and that made it like super helpful and made the transition so easy because she spoke the language and it really helped me out. And her grandparents lived in Moscow, so we would go to Moscow like all the time and like just like I don't know, have fun and like just be young and like experience like I don't know, life outside of America because it was like really my first time living um on my own in a different country, which was awesome. And so yeah, I was there for about a year, and then the NWSL formed while I was over there, and I knew that I wanted to come back. So I was like, okay, like when this season here is over, like how can I get back into the NWSL? I think it was probably maybe early or mid season at that point for the NWSL, and I came back and I started playing with the Washington Spirit. I was there for 2 years. Got traded to Western New York. Midway through that season, got traded to Houston, and and then I got picked up by Orlando when they formed a team. So yeah, I've been in the NWSL since the beginning, and just we've come such a long way, from venues and stadium quality to locker room quality to the minimum salary going up every year, and just us demanding and wanting the standard of quality that we deserve. And I think it's getting better and better every year, and it's pretty exciting to see where we are now and where we started.
That's like just honestly, the coolest and most exciting but like windy road to being at a place where you feel like home. I feel like now, um which is really really cool. I didn't realize you were in Houston for a hot split second and jumping all around. I know we played because UNC always played the Spirit in the spring, so I
Hmm.
knew you were with the Spirit then, but I didn't realize you bounced around. That is tough. That is tough. I can't imagine that. Now, I do have one question. It's a silly question, but then I'll ask a serious one. Because I know you're a fashionista, when you were in Russia, did you have one of those fur? Um, you probably know what they're called. You know the little hats that they
Oh
have.
yes, yes.
You
Um,
definitely had one.
you know what? I did not.
Tony.
I know, I know. I did not have one. I had a vest, but I don't have it anymore. But yeah, that's like a staple over there. It's like that
That's what.
little,
Yeah,
I don't even know what it's called, but that little circle
yeah.
for hat cap.
I need to find out what it's called because I could see you rocking that.
I feel like I could see you rocking that.
As long as there's a hole for the bun.
So like a headband is what you need.
Yes.
Like a yeah,
Yes.
got
Yes,
it.
just a headband.
Really neat.
Um, so when you how did you feel as soon as you would get settled in a place that you would have to jump ship again? How did you mentally handle that? Because I was drafted by Boston. Boston folded, so I was kind of in that same situation, but it wasn't like the league folded.
Mhm.
How did you handle that mentally?
Um, how did I handle the league folding?
In just the league folding and then just jumping from Houston
Mm.
to all around the league.
Well, I guess I didn't really know any better when the league
Mhm.
folded because I had been in college, for the
Mhm.
4 years. So I was just like, okay, well, where do I go next? Like, because
Mhm.
would have been my first experience next. So I will say it is tough being traded and having to like uproot
Yeah.
everything and pack everything and leave and kind of get settled somewhere else, and you don't know how long you'll be there, and especially
Mhm.
with the rules and um in the NWSL, you I don't know, you never really know how long you are for somewhere. So
Uh-huh.
um I guess I feel pretty lucky to be in Orlando as long as I have been. Considering, and especially being from Florida, it's nice to be back, and yeah, hopefully I'll be here for a little bit longer.
Yeah. I loved my year in Orlando. It was awesome. It really was. Even
Well, I
though
miss you.
on the field it wasn't great, but off the field I loved it, and I I loved it all. I miss it a lot. But that's a side note. Speaking of my tenure last year, you went through something that is just I it's almost hard to like put into words for me because to see you so strong and see you the way you handled yourself, you are the epitome of grace, of strength, of everything that I think a woman is. And like to see you be diagnosed with breast cancer, and then to see you honestly step on that field 3 months later in our last game, honestly, it'll probably tear me up right now, but like I can't even. I know this isn't even a question, it's just a statement. I'm just letting you know how I feel about you is unbelievable. So
Oh,
I don't want to really ask. I just want you to kind of walk us through kind of just from square one, kind of what kind of happened, your feelings, and just kind of everything. It's really the floor is yours.
Okay. Well, square one. Okay. You're gonna make me tear up, Joe.
Oh, dang.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean that.
So, well, you remember Ricky Keene,
Yes.
our nutrition. Yeah.
Mhm.
So she one day she came in to speak to us,
Mhm.
about breast cancer and her experience because she had just been through the whole process and had surgery and I mean we were like absolutely floored and like
Yes.
shocked because like she's so healthy, so fit, and I think that was kind of eye opening for a
Mhm.
lot of us. And then especially me because at that time I had already been feeling I guess symptoms, if you
Mhm.
will, like achiness, tenderness.
Mhm.
I did feel like a little lump, probably like the size of a little bit bigger than like a pea, maybe
Okay.
pea sized. And I was like, like maybe I should just go to the doctor.
Mhm.
Because after hearing her speak and then kind of recognizing what was going on with me and the changes in my body, I was like, huh, like the light bulb kind of went off.
Mhm.
And it probably wasn't until like a month later that I finally like made the appointment and went in to see Dr. Greaves, like
Mhm.
our team gynecologist, and like, hey, like this is what's going on. What do you think? And she sent me to go get a mammogram
Mhm.
and had a mammogram, and it was like awful.
Mhm.
Like on this on so I only had cancer in my right breast, and so
Mhm.
on that side when they did the imaging with the mammogram it was like the most painful thing like ever in life.
Wow.
The other side was fine, but I was a bit scarred from the right side.
Wow.
um so after that was done, and got my imaging back and results, they then told me that I needed to get a biopsy.
Mhm.
So went and got a biopsy, probably like a week, maybe later. And then after that, probably another week later, week and a half, I got an MRI.
Mhm.
And then from all of those results combined together, I knew that I had breast cancer. And it was just like a shock, as you can imagine, because here I am, like an athlete. I think I'm healthy, like doing everything right. Like you think you're kind of immune to, you know, um, disease and stuff, and it kind of humbles you a little bit. Um, so, after finding out, I was like, okay, well, what are my next steps? Like, what do I need to do
Mhm.
next? And at that point, I didn't know if I needed chemo or radiation or not. I wouldn't know that until after surgery. So
Really? I didn't
yeah.
know that.
hmm
Wow. So
So I was
you had, like, sorry to interrupt. I just so
okay.
you had this whole, like, weight. Pretty much you just walked every day with this weight of, like, unknowing. Is that kind of
Yeah,
just how you felt? Like, just 1,000 pounds on you?
I felt like
Or were you, like, in a daze? Or, like, how did your body react to it and, like, your mind react to it? Or has anyone ever asked you that?
I think I just tried to compartmentalize the best I could
Uh-huh.
because knowing the information that I knew of
Mhm.
having breast cancer, but not knowing really what the journey would look like for me,
Mhm.
um, and still having to come to training and play games,
That just
I
blows my mind.
couldn't. I feel like I couldn't really allow myself to think about the future,
Mhm.
if that makes sense,
Yep.
because one, I didn't know. Two, I still had to like do my job, and yeah, I
Yes.
don't know. I feel like
And Tina, like, just so you like, she well, like, looking back, like, you would have never known. This girl was putting in the work. Like you would have, she didn't skip a beat. Like it was for her. Sorry, I'm just going off here, Tony, but I'm just like, for you to do what you did, like with that information that you had, she still came in smiling every day, still came in, worked her ass off. Like it's just, it's something that's so incomparable. What's the word? Uncomparable? What when you can't imagine? Someone help me. I know I graduated from UNC, but
Incomprehensible. But
yes, that would be the word. UVA.
I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
and you're also not adding the fact that she's a professional athlete that's playing a
And
physical sport every day with
a physical specimen, a vegan.
right.
Like it just, it's something when you told us, when you told us, I was like, first off, I was like, there's absolutely no way. Secondly, I'm like, how did you hold like the strength that that takes? I know I keep saying that, but like it's just unbelievable, unbelievable. So kind of walk us through then telling us.
Yeah. So, oh, so yeah. So just kind of
Were
my
you
thought
nervous?
process was like, okay, don't tell anyone until you know what the next steps are.
Okay.
Um, and so I guess from the time of finding out till me telling you guys
Hmm.
probably was about, I don't know, 2 to 3 weeks.
Okay.
Um, because I remember we had 2 games. We played Washington at home and Portland away,
Yep.
and then we had like a bye week. And so I was like, okay, when that bye week happens, because then I scheduled my surgery for around that time. I was like,
Hmm.
okay, I can be away. I can tell the team like I'm not going to be here anymore, and it won't be an issue. Like I won't be in training. And I think that's another reason I wanted to wait too, because I didn't want like you all to like be thinking about that,
Hmm.
um, and like have, I don't know. It just felt really weird for me.
You were being
um,
like, once again the most selfless person, one of the most selfless people I know. And continue.
yeah, I just didn't really want you guys to have to be like worrying about me or like what's gonna happen, especially like I don't know, we all have like we have a job to do, and I didn't want
Mhm.
that to like affect anyone. So I waited to the last possible second to like tell the coaching staff, to tell you guys, and um, yeah. So once I knew that my surgery was coming up and I would just be away for good, well, for however long I need to be away, I was like, okay, you tell them. And originally, like I wanted to tell you guys over text message, which
Of
here again, the text
dating
message
back
queen.
dating back to the
Which
Florida.
because I was like, crap, like this is gonna be so hard. Like, how do I tell them? But then I was like, no, like just go in and tell them. And so yeah, I feel like before I could even say anything, like I feel like I remember I started like crying because I was
Mhm.
like, it was just so hard to get that out because then it became like very real.
Yeah.
Um, because again, at that point, like I didn't know if how serious the cancer was, if I needed chemotherapy, if I needed radiation, if I could come back.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, so I told you all, and it was very emotional in the room. And I remember everyone giving me a hug. And yeah, I think that was probably one of the hardest parts about this whole experience is telling you guys.
Wow.
So, I mean, for one, as an outsider, your story is incredible. And it's a big reason why. So, me and my mom always joke how women are just the absolute strongest ever. And you're clearly exude that. But so not to bring myself up, but I had a nodule on my thyroid that I went through a little bit of a scare. I was lucky enough that it didn't turn into cancer, but went through the whole biopsy thing. And I remember, to Joanna's point, like I can't even believe that you were able to hold strength like that. I mean, I was sick to my stomach for a week, because people don't realize that either, is that when you think someone's telling you you have cancer, you're like, get me in and operate. Like my mindset goes to like, let's do it. Like, what do I need to do to fix this right this second? And it's not that simple. So just to be clear, like you had no, until you went into surgery, there was no discussion about like the optimism, like we feel like we have a good opportunity to just like go in there and get it all. Like was that part of the discussion, or you really truly had to wait till they assessed it in surgery? And then at that point you knew more clear, like, is this going to be a longer battle than, how long the battle would actually be, kind of thing?
So before surgery, I knew based on imaging and some testing that it was classified as stage 0 um, in situ, which basically it was the cancer was only in my milk ducts and it hadn't spread anywhere else, and it was not considered invasive. So I think just knowing that information kind of put me at ease because it's was the lowest stage.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but then again, like I don't know, I was like I felt some comfort, but not because I still didn't know like if I needed
Yeah.
chemo or not. So I was like, okay, well, it's stage 0, but I could still need chemo based on another test that they needed to do once they got the cancer.
I remember you talking about that one.
Yeah, so I was just like, okay, well, I definitely think that put me um, a lot at ease with the situation and kind of helped me feel hopeful and optimistic about everything. And then certainly after surgery, I was actually diagnosed at stage 1 because they did find a little bit of invasive cancer. And then and even though it was only on my right side, I got a double mastectomy. So I was like, just take them both at this point.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I did that, and then it
Yeah,
was
you
just,
did. You did that.
I did that, and
That ass.
You did that.
Here's ass. But I do want to say as a plug, because and I hate to make you the example here, but we're talking to someone who's a professional athlete, ladies and gentlemen. She's well nutrition, healthy as could be. Check yourself.
Do you feel as if you would have gotten yourself checked if Ricky hadn't come and spoken to us?
no, I don't think so. Um, I think. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
We can hear you.
Um, no, I don't. I think if Ricky wouldn't have come in to speak to us, I wouldn't have kind of connected the two
Mhm.
of me feeling those symptoms and then just kind of her story. Um, because here I am again thinking I'm young, I'm healthy and athletic, um, and we're not even told to get mammograms till we're 40. So I just didn't even think that it was happening to me. And then I'm so grateful that she decided to share her experience and what she went through because it certainly led me to go to the doctor.
I mean, honestly, thank God.
I know.
And she herself is a stud. I
Hmm.
mean, it's truly like it gives me chills to think about. Um, and I just remember, like, I really clearly remember her conversation because it impacted me a lot. And I was sitting there thinking, I was like, wow, like, you know what? Like, I do need to check like I remember that. Like I need to look at myself. I need to check for things and it could happen to anyone. We saw her, she's fit as a fiddle and just
No.
I mean, so that's truly, truly amazing. So you get your double mastectomy, you come back, you're on the mend. Were you like I know you're a goal setter. Were you like, I want to play this last game? Or were you just taking things day by day? Like what was your kind of journey like on the back end of things?
So post surgery, I think I guess my initial goal was to come back for next season.
Okay.
I didn't really think that I would be able to come back and play any games because we didn't really have.
I
I
think there's
don't.
like maybe 4 or 5 games left.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, well, how can I, get, go through this process, go into the off season, try and get, my fitness back as fit as possible, and then just be prepared for next season. And I think it wasn't until I realized that I didn't need any further treatment. So I didn't need radiation or chemotherapy that I was like, okay, well, so the surgery at this point is it. Like,
Mhm.
just recover. And as long as you're feeling okay, then just get fit again and get your strength up and see if you can get into training first and foremost. And yeah, I
There
don't
is,
even know.
you want to know when I was like, she's back. We did this 1v1 drill and like it was like me and you paired up. So it was like two strong people going against each other.
Was
And
that when they just threw the balls in there?
so
Frick.
yes. And Tony and I literally were just wrestling each other because like no one
That's
was
always how
like,
it goes.
yeah, we were going nowhere. Like I'm not quick enough to beat Tony. So I'm like, okay, I gotta body her. And she was like, well, I'm gonna body you. And I was like, so they were like, okay, like dead. Like it's going on for like 20 seconds because it was like shielding. We were like trying to get past each other.
You're like, where's the ball?
Yeah, we're like, where's the ball? But like,
Bodies.
we didn't get anywhere. So they were just like, okay, dead. Next group.
I remember that game. That game was wild. We
It
were
was
like playing
wild.
1v1 and they would just chuck a ball in there and
Yes.
then, the first
I
person
almost
to
got in
get
a
it.
fight.
Oh my god.
I almost got in a fight with Alika.
It was intense.
It was intense, but it was fun. And I remember being like, God, I love competing with Tony. Like I literally remember like him calling dead and being like, hell yeah, Tony. Like, let's go. Let's go. So just now that you're back, you're feeling good, kind of uh, try to explain your emotions as you're subbing in.
Um,
Last game, am I right on
yeah,
that?
I
Is
mean,
that-
I
erasing
was
myself?
just like, okay, like you're going in,
Yeah.
don't mess up.
Uh-huh.
Like, I don't know. It was kind of a weird day because I don't know. I tried not to put too much pressure on it, um, and I just tried to make it, just like a normal game day.
Mhm.
So do all the normal things, all my normal routines, and eat the same things, and um, just kind of like be around you guys again was just awesome, and to be in the locker room again, and
Mhm.
um, I didn't expect to go in the game, and I don't know. I kind of just like was there, like cheering everyone on and like supporting everyone, and then he called my name, and I was like, oh, okay, well, this is like a real thing. So I was just like, okay, well, here you go. Like, just I don't know, just go
Yeah.
out there and just do what you do
Yeah.
and do your best, and
Yeah.
that's all you can ask of yourself, really.
Yeah. Well, on
Well,
behalf of a teammate and a friend who loves to watch you play your little home improvement games online on your apps, to see you step back on the field, even though I was half exhausted, I nearly teared up. And just, I know I said it again, but you just epitomize strength. You epitomize women. You're the perfect person to, you know, be able to come out on the other side, and the strength that you held is just truly incredible. Gina, do
retweet.
you want to say anything on
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of as an outsider knowing kind of your story, but now hearing it from you, like, and Joanna giving me a little bit of the ins, I think just like the strength you exuded just through the process, and
Yeah.
then to even have the ability to get back on the field is again why I say like a lot of the women in this league are what inspire me to pursue excellence in my next journey, my next career. Um, with on that note, I would like to move to the future. Obviously, you're back, which is amazing.
With the new hairstyle.
With the new hairstyle looking great.
Mhm.
So obviously, I think from me and Joanna, I think Orlando, it's unfortunate you guys couldn't participate in the bubble this year. But I think there was also a lot of high expectations for your team. So I think it's, from a fan perspective, it was unfortunate just to see like what this year's team was gonna do. Obviously, we know next year it'll probably be a little different. Hopefully, not too different with some of your players overseas, but coming back and a lot of moving parts. So, what are your expectations for the Pride going into 2021, and more specifically yourself? Kind of probably, I would imagine using these games as tune-ups to kind of prepare yourself and get back in rhythm. But also, obviously you guys hadn't played in some real games for a bit. So what are your expectations going into next season?
Going into next season, I think we'll be really competitive and do really well. And I say that because um, at the beginning of this season, in our preseason, and going into the Challenge Cup, we were looking and feeling really good, and I was like, "Whoa, like we have something here." Um, and then obviously, not to be able to kind of display that and show that through performance at the Challenge Cup was very disappointing. Um, and then just not having a lot of pieces here, for a lot of reasons, they're going overseas to play, which is great to get different experience, which is good for players here too, because it allows our younger ones to gain experience as well, to learn as much as they can, and to play in these games in high pressure moments. So I think that's really good as well, and especially in this fall series, they're getting game time experience, and that they otherwise probably wouldn't. And I think that can only help us grow as a team, especially as national team players come in and out of the squad. To have people have the ability to step up in those moments is going to be key for us. Um, I think personally, going into 2021, I want to be as fit as possible. I think this year has been really wild for a lot of reasons. So there were moments where, like, I had to quarantine. So my fitness was a bit off. We weren't able to play together. We weren't having games. So I feel like, it's just really imperative that I use this off season to get as good as possible. And just to be able to contribute as much as I can to the team.
Yeah, I texted. I came home from coaching when you guys were playing, and I turned the game on, and I saw that blonde tackle, and I said, "Yes, Toni's back." I texted her. I was like, "Yes, girl, you get that tackle." I was like, "Oh, it made my heart so happy to see." But we're gonna do rapid fire questions. But Toni, I just want to say, the one thing that I miss the most is your perfectly weighted balls into
Oh,
the six, who then plays it out wide. I think about that a lot. It's like you play the most perfect pass into the six, that you're like, you know what? You can take a one touch, you could take a two touch, you could take whatever type of touch you want, because my pass is perfect right into you. I just want you to say, as I've retired, I've thought about that, and that's one of the things that I miss.
thank
Uh,
you, Joe.
you're so welcome. Okay, so we're gonna do a little rapid fire. So it's about 6 questions, just boom. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Favorite coffee drink?
Uh, um,
You
this
can
is.
take your time. Like, you don't have to like be like crazy fast with it.
I'm like, I'm not doing rapid fire.
Joanna gets really aggressive with the question.
I do.
Favorite coffee drink?
Favorite coffee drink? Go.
Favorite coffee drink? Cappuccino, coconut milk.
Oh, okay, nice. Describe yourself in 3 words, and it doesn't have to be rapid. We can be chill with this.
Okay. Shy, compassionate, and artsy.
Ooh, yes. Yes, you are. Okay. Favorite NWSL team to play?
Ooh. My favorite NWSL team to play, I think, would be North Carolina, just because they're just
It's just North Carolina.
they're just North Carolina.
Nice.
Nothing needs to be said on that.
Yeah, that's just period. North Carolina, period. Current favorite takeout?
Ooh. So Ethos, have you been there yet? Well,
No.
okay, so it's a vegan place in Orlando. They have the best, like, breakfast, brunch.
Ooh.
So yeah, and they're on Uber Eats, so that makes it super helpful.
Yeah. Okay, television show you've recently binged?
Schitt's Creek.
Oh my God, David.
He's the best.
He's the best. I was hoping you were going to say that, Toni. I was hoping you were going to say that. Alexis. Oh, that's a whole nother conversation.
Yes.
Okay, and last one, favorite current or former teammate?
Joe.
Ah, okay, real one.
Uh, I don't know. I mean, I like everyone. I feel like that's
The
the
team
awesome
spirit.
thing about like soccer. Even though like you don't really know people and then you get on teams with them.
Mhm.
I don't know.
I'll answer it for you. I think it's going to be your Russian American friend.
Okay, cool.
Just in the sense that, she took you under her wing in Russia and you really found a new sense of self.
Thank you for that.
Is that wrong?
Uh, no.
I
Okay.
think it all could, as we told the last guest, it could change by the day.
It can change by the day.
I think.
It can change by the day. It could
Right.
be
It
day
just
to day.
depends on the 1v1 battles and training and if I won or not.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. We'll ask you again tomorrow and it'll change.
Okay. Perfect.
Well, Tone Dog, thank you
Thank
so
you.
very much. I
Thank you.
am so happy we had you on. I know we kind of got into some deep stuff, but
We appreciate
I think it's important for people to once again realize what an amazing human being you are, and to hear it from the source. I think is just so impactful. So thank you so much for being on Two Wash Ups, One Pro. Teen, you got anything to add?
No.
Yeah. Thank you, ladies. And yeah, if you're, I don't know, just be aware of the changes in your body and go to the doctor early and often
For sure.
for anything.
Yes. You
Especially
heard
with
it here
COVID.
from Tony. Go to the doctor. We thank you. We love you. Peace out.
Peace out.